Tonight starts with the all-new special GameView.
I really did not want to go on another rant about Color Splash. This game has had so much negativity surrounding it ever since the trailer first came out in March. I've criticized it more than I've criticized any other game that I've ever enjoyed playing in my entire life. And I really did not want to get aboard the negativity train again, nitpicking about a game that I still haven't had the chance to play yet. But we've learned a couple of things over the past few weeks, over the past month in fact, that I did want to give my opinion on, and some of it is actually good news, because it's actually improved the way I looked at this game. I actually am getting a little bit more excited about it, but there's also some stuff that a lot of you will find nitpicky, but it's just negative. I'm sorry. I still, after watching all of these trailers and demos and gameplay experiences of Color Splash, there's still some things, a lot of things, that I'm nitpicking on, because I loved the N64 Paper Mario, I loved the Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario was okay, I know Roxy loves it, I'm not as much of a fan in terms of the gameplay, but it had a great story, and then Sticker Star went down the drain, and everything that I've seen so far regarding Color Splash has led me to believe that it is an improvement over Sticker Star, but it's still worse than the N64 and Thousand Year Door versions. So, anyways, we're gonna get started on the points that I wanted to address. So, first off, damage control PR. This is the phrase that I'm gonna use from now on to describe any time a company has to start promoting a game and addressing what fans are complaining about because they have a feeling that the sales of the game aren't going to go over well. We've seen it with Star Trek, the recent movies, we've seen it with the Ghostbusters remake, Metroid Prime Federation Force, and more recently, we've seen it with Color Splash. About 3 weeks ago, this was on July 6th, Risa Tabata, assistant producer, who worked on Color Splash, goes out and says this. This time we have, I don't know if I want to say a proper story, but we have a story. Now, that comment was made to address everyone's criticism of Color Splash so far, which was basically that the game had no story. It was like Sticker Star. It had a very basic plot, which involved Bowser being the main villain, once again stealing some sort of item that made him super powerful, and that was basically the gist of it. Hence, one of the many reasons why traditional Paper Mario fans hated Sticker Star, especially after the first 3 Paper Mario entries. So, that's what Tabata said on July the 6th. So, in other words, it doesn't have a proper story, but it has a story. I don't know how I want to interpret that. Are you basically telling us it doesn't have a good story, but it does have a story? I mean, what is the definition of a proper story? A proper story as in a Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario story versus what we ended up getting in Sticker Star, which was a very basic story. I'm not sure, but that is what started things off. And then, it was one day later, on July the 7th, that she was speaking to Eurogamer, and here's what she said to them. Some of the things we focused on in the past are the humor and a well-put-together story. That's something we've really focused on for this title. Wait a second. I sense a contradiction here. So, first you're saying it has a story, but it doesn't have a proper story. Now you're saying the story is something that you've really focused on for this title. So which is it? Does it have a proper story, or does it have a garbage story? Unfortunately, we're probably not going to know until the game comes out on October 7th. And also, to add to that, Tabata said, "You'll probably cry by the time the story ends." And this line was really, really funny, because as a lot of people posted in the comments section on multiple websites, it's kind of late for that, because people already started crying back in March when they found out this wasn't a true sequel to Thousand Year Door, and it was more based off of Sticker Star than the earlier installments. Heck, I almost cried. Okay, no I didn't. But the point is, she probably should not have said that. Okay, so at this point, you're probably thinking to yourself, alright Scott, Risa Tabata did say a couple of dumb things. We all say dumb things at several points in our lives. Give her a break. And I would, except she didn't stop. Almost 2 weeks later, in another interview with GameSpot, this is what she said. When we think of what we cannot do in a traditional Mario game, what we came to was, well, definitely humor. So we want to focus on humor as much as possible. All these different people got together in meetings, and basically, very diligently and seriously thought of how we could do the stupidest, craziest things possible. I can't make this stuff up, folks. That is literally what she said to GameSpot. And that was almost 2 weeks ago. So, congratulations, Risa Tabata. Your goal, and the goal of the development team in Color Splash, was how they could do the stupidest things possible, and you succeeded! A+ for effort! You made one of the stupidest battle systems in the history of the franchise. So if that was your goal, job well done. Now obviously, she is probably referring to things like that crazy dancing pig attack that was thrown into the game. But I find it a little bit ironic that she's referring to scenes like that, when in actuality, if that was the entire premise of this game, if Intelligent Systems got together and said, okay, we need to create a new Paper Mario entry. Let's see how stupid we can make it. Let's see if we can throw in the stupidest, craziest things possible into this game. If that was the premise, no offense, but Risa Tabata, you should be fired. In fact, you should fire the entire development staff that worked on this game. And I know there was another guy who she worked with, who was another producer on Color Splash. I can't remember the name for the life of me, but he was the one who, I think, said in another interview that he initially came up with the concept after talking to his 3-year-old son about painting. And that's why we got a game focused on painting, which everyone, myself included, criticized for essentially trying to capitalize off the success of Splatoon. It's like if Paper Mario and Splatoon had a baby combined with elements of Sticker Star. That's what Color Splash is. There's no better way I can describe it than that. So if that's the case, and the game sells poorly, which I think it will, because dwindling Wii U sales, I mean, Nintendo already posted a quarterly loss for its second quarter sales, in terms of profits, and Wii U sales are dropping exponentially, especially with the announcement of the NX coming next year. So I think the sales are going to be pretty bad for this game. It doesn't do well? Hey, intelligent systems only have themselves to blame. But I'll say this. I will definitely say this. If this game doesn't do well, and the next entry in the Paper Mario franchise doesn't go back to the roots of the series, if we don't get another JRPG like PM64 and Thousand Year Door, Tabata should be fired. Get rid of her, get rid of the other producer who worked on Color Splash, fire the dev team, and get a bunch of people who actually know what the heck they're doing. Bring back the old Paper Mario team. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make here is whenever a company has to go out of their way and have spokespeople start releasing PRs all over the place and talking to different people to address comments on a game or movie or a TV show like this in advance of the first episode or in advance of the game actually coming out, it kind of sends warning bells ringing off in your head. I don't want to jump to any foregone conclusions here, but there's a reason why stuff like this gets sent out, and it almost gives me the impression that either Nintendo or Intelligent Systems knows that Color Splash is getting a lot of hate among the fan base. They know that it's going to be a tough sell unless they address some of this criticism put forward by the fans. So I'd like to think that they're not completely oblivious to the traditional Paper Mario fans who have voiced their anger and frustration, myself included, online, and that's why they're going to this extent. Like I said, we've seen this before. We've seen it with Federation Force. Nintendo and, what was that guy's name? Tanabe, I think? Addressing fans' concerns about Federation Force. Abrams addressing fans' concerns about Star Trek Beyond. It's a common PR trend that happens whenever a company doesn't want to address the negativity surrounding a product or an invention, but they're aware of the negativity. Anyways, just something I want to throw out there. So, recently, more recently than those press releases and those interviews, at San Diego Comic-Con, we actually got a glimpse at some additional footage of Color Splash. So, when I was watching the additional footage, it just... it made me all the more frustrated, because for all intents and purposes, everything that I've seen so far on Color Splash is perfect, except for the gosh darn battle system, which ticks me off to no end. When I was watching the trailer at Comic-Con, everything looks phenomenal. The graphics look phenomenal. The humor looks like it will be extremely entertaining, that we're gonna get a ton of laughs out of creative dialogue choices. The music and the sound effects. Everything is there except the stupid battle system with the cards that keeps rubbing me off the wrong way. So, to get into the battle system a little bit more, I saw this scene where Mario was going up against a couple of scaredy rats. Let's start from the beginning. The battle music. So, the first 10 seconds of the battle music really reminds me of the Thousand Year Door's Wild battle music. Really good. And, again, this is coming from a Paper Mario fan, so feel free to criticize me on my nitpicking of this. But after the first 10 seconds, the next 15 seconds sounds a little bit weird. It seems like they took elements of Sticker Star's Wild battle theme and incorporated it into the next 15 seconds. But it also seems very low-key instead of a hyped-up, excited battle theme that we were used to. I mean, even Sticker Star had a battle theme that had an upbeat tempo. But after the first 10 seconds of Color Splash's battle theme, the next 15, it's very low-key, sort of, I want to say more so a relaxing theme, as opposed to an upbeat, exciting theme, which is what a battle is supposed to be about. And then after the next 15 seconds, the remainder of the song finishes up like the first 10, more in Thousand Year Door style. So, I don't know, it's a little bit weird, but I'm okay with it, overall. Overall, I'm okay. Not as great as the N64 version, not as great as Thousand Year Door. To an extent, I actually liked Sticker Star's Wild battle theme more than Color Splash's. But that's alright, like I said, I'm okay with it. It's not that bad, although it's not the excited, pumped-up theme I was hoping for. So, the next thing I want to address is the enemy situation. Color Splash, at least from what I'm seeing, it's an improvement over Sticker Star, because, as I pointed out before, at least there's a partial EXP system with regards to the paint mechanics. You're not leveling Mario up, but you are leveling up his paint meter by gaining paint EXP in battles. However, one of the heavy criticisms I made several months ago was the fact that there was a lack of original characters included in the game. Now, in this trailer that just came out a few days ago, we did see some ghost toads. Yes, I know, toads again, but at least they were ghosts instead of the typical red and white happy-go-lucky toad. There was also a shady sledge bro, which I guess in a sense kind of reminded me of a clubber, but I mean the guy was wearing black sunglasses, so at least on that front there is more originality in Color Splash, or at least Intelligent Systems tried to put more originality into Color Splash than they did with Sticker Star. That being said, however, I still want to see them go outside of the box and bring more original characters into the fold. Don't take what was essentially a clubber, stick on a hammer and some sunglasses. Create a brand new enemy, brand new type of enemy, instead of just taking enemies that we've already seen and decorating them up. But that being said, at least it is an improvement over Sticker Star. And that's something that I was happy to see. Another thing I noticed, in the trailer, when Mario jumped on a scaredy rat in the overworld, there was no battle that ensued. Mario didn't jump into a battle, it was just a KO immediately in the overworld. Now, I'd like to think that there are still first strikes in this game. Maybe the reason that happened was because Mario was so over-leveled, or maybe he had so much more HP than the Scaredy Rat that I guess at some point in the game when your HP level is that high versus the enemies, you can instantly KO in the overworld. But it was interesting to point that out. In the battle itself, going back to that, I'm gonna nitpick again. It looks awkward having the HP bar in the bottom left corner, having the coin count in the bottom right corner, because up until now, these pieces of information have always been at the top of the screen. So, why would they put it at the bottom of the screen? Again, nitpicking, but it's just something I question. Why mix it up like that? Plus, I mean, there's so much more room on the blue parts, the top and the bottom blue part of the battle screen. There's so much more room for them to have added in, like, FP or SP, and it looks so bland right now, just with an HP meter and a coin meter, and both the HP meter and the coin meter are displayed on the gamepad anyway, so again, I mean, early footage, maybe there is something that gets added onto the battle screen later on, but I doubt it, personally. And another thing that I want to nitpick on is the damage counter. Mario has a numerical HP value, and I mentioned this before, but I just have to bring it up again because it looks so awkward. Mario has a numerical amount of HP, right? 50 out of 50, 100 out of 100. When an enemy attacks Mario, a damage star appears indicating precisely how much damage the enemy inflicted on Mario. However, when Mario attacks an enemy, there's no damage star. Look at the trailer and you'll see exactly what I mean. The only thing that happens when Mario attacks an enemy is the action command sequence. You'll see nice, great, excellent if you time the action commands correctly. But as far as how much damage Mario is inflicting with his attack, you never know, because the game doesn't tell you. I mean, you can gauge a rough estimate afterwards by seeing how much color is left in the enemy's sprite, but it's just an estimate. It's not a numerical value. I mean, to that point, if an enemy has half of its color left, okay, I know the enemy's HP is at 50%, but I want numerical damage counters. I want to have a more precise feel of how much more HP an enemy has. Just because the enemy's sprite is half colored, what does that mean? Does the enemy have 50 out of 100 HP? Does he have 500 out of 1,000 HP? If I attack the enemy with a jump or a hammer, am I doing 25 damage if the jump is half-colored? If I decide to half-color the jump card, and I'm doing 50 damage if I fully color it? What's the enemy's defense value? I mean, enemies with higher defense, am I gonna be doing lower damage overall? You don't know, and you'll never know, because there's no damage indicator when Mario hits the enemy. Frustration. And the other thing I wanted to point out on the partner situation, again, okay, there are temporary partners, I get it. You defeat an enemy in the wild, you pick up the enemy card, you can then summon that enemy into battle as an ally. But there are some restrictions, and again, it doesn't seem that original. It would have been more original for Intelligent Systems to create a separate set of unique partner characters for Mario to have constantly in the battle. The way it's implemented right now with the temporary enemy partner system, first off, you can only use an enemy card once per battle. So, that's kind of unfair. I mean, especially when you summon, let's say, a Shy Guy as your ally, and the Shy Guy only has, at least from the trailer I saw, it only had like 10 HP or something, because when the Shy Guy got hit twice by the enemy, oh, sorry, Shy Guy's defeated. So, I mean, that was a little bit ridiculous in and of itself. But, anyways, that aside from the main point that I was trying to make, it just seems like a very lazy way to do it. I mean, we complained about the lack of partners in Sticker Star. Now, they've attempted to remedy that complaint by introducing partners, but not original partners, just taking sprites, enemy sprites that were already in the game, and then shoving them in as a temporary ally for Mario. And again, we don't know any specifics because the temporary partner doesn't get a set HP value. So we don't know how much damage a temporary partner can take from any particular enemy. It's basically just luck of the draw, random chance. Oh, this particular ally managed to survive the enemy's attack? Great! If he didn't, well, sucks to be you, your ally just got one hit KO'd. Oh, and you can't summon another enemy partner for the rest of that battle. Too bad, so sad, move on. Going on to the positive side of things, however, at least they remedied the target system, okay? One of my many complaints of Sticker Star was the fact that you had to attack the first enemy in the line of enemies. Why they decided to force that upon the player, I have no idea, because in the N64 and Thousand Year Door version, you could pick any target you wanted to. Not in Sticker Star. At least they rectified that in Color Splash. You can now jump over the first enemy to hit the second. You can pick who you want to target. Thank God. The other positive thing I noted was the dynamic camera movement. I believe this is the first time in a Paper Mario game that the camera has been moving around during a battle scene, because even in the originals, 64, Thousand Year Door, and in Sticker Star, it was a static camera. So that's definitely an improvement. I don't know how I want to perceive this game, because, like I said, it has everything a Paper Mario fan would ever want, except for the crummy battle system that we all want to burn for all of eternity, because it's garbage. And everyone else has addressed this as well. Arlo, Josh from the Bit Block, Andre from Game Explain. We want to love this game so bad, but we look at the stupid battle system and we want to take a hammer and just break it and destroy it and never ever want to deal with it again. And to the point that Arlo made in one of his previous videos on Color Splash, it's a broken system, because really the only way that we can get intelligent systems to recognize that we want a return to the Thousand Year Door format is basically not to buy Color Splash. But then again, that would be depriving ourselves of the opportunity to play this game. And if you are keeping track on the timeline side of things, it's gonna be roughly 4 years since Sticker Star came out. So, are we basically going to avoid buying this game and have to wait another 4 years until, hopefully, Intelligent Systems gets the message and comes out with a 1,000-Year Door sequel. I mean, this is the massively frustrating part of this. And like I said before, I don't think the sales are going to be that high for Color Splash. There's so much hatred and so much animosity surrounding this game right now. I don't think the sales are going to be high. I honestly believe that 2 or 3 months after Color Splash is released, we're going to see a huge drop in price for the game, just like a lot of the recent Wii U games have been running into lately. Star Fox, perfect example. The price dropped $20-30 a few months after it was released on Amazon. So that's what I think is going to happen. And speaking of prices, I mean, if you've seen some of the prices for this game, I mean, it's absolutely absurd. $59.99 is the standard MSRP for Wii U titles. If you check out some of the Canadian sites, like Canadian Best Buy and Canadian GameStop, they've actually got Color Splash listed at $84.99. Now, I don't give a darn whether that's a placeholder price or not. That is absurd, okay? That is more than the conversion rate for the US to Canadian dollar right now. I mean, definitely not worth the money, and hence why I have a US Amazon Prime membership, and I will always buy from Amazon US as opposed to Canadian retailers. But that is just absurd. Almost $100 after tax, because remember, there's 13% tax you have to add on. So that's ridiculous. $100 for a standard edition Wii U game. Now, the price will probably drop maybe $10 because it is a so-called placeholder price, but I still find that absolutely absurd because that is way above the current conversion rate. Definitely not worth spending the money. Might as well just wait till January, because after Christmas and after the initial 2 to 3 months period, I guarantee you Paper Mario Color Splash is going to drop in price. It might drop to $44.99 or, dare I say, $39.99. But, it's definitely not worth buying on day one from the Canadian retailers. And even from the US retailer, Amazon, I'm struggling because the only reason why I would consider pre-ordering Color Splash, and if I do pre-order it, it's probably going to be on October 1st, just a few days before the actual release of the game. The only reason I would pre-order it is because of the Amazon Prime 20% discount, where I'm only paying $44 or thereabouts, plus shipping, because of that 20% discount, which actually makes getting video games, especially Wii U titles, a lot more affordable. But that's the only reason I would consider pre-ordering this title. I mean, it's some of these other places, by the way, like IGN, saying that Color Splash is the big Wii U title coming this fall. What? Sorry, let me just shut you down right now, okay? Color Splash is not the big Wii U title that is a must-have for every Wii U gamer that's coming out this fall. If anything, Color Splash is the only big title, or only first-party title, if you will, from Nintendo that's coming out this fall, because aside from Color Splash, the last Wii U game that's coming out is Zelda Breath of the Wild, and that's not coming out till next year. So, IGN, I don't know who paid them off to try to get aboard the hype train for Color Splash, but obviously it's not working on me. one other interesting thing that I wanted to point out. I did some research, and I don't know if this is entirely true or not, but it seems, and I say seems, in quotes, like the reason why Color Splash is a sequel to Sticker Star, as opposed to the Thousand Year Door, is because it's being made by the same team that worked on Sticker Star. And let me explain that. It seems like there are two different teams of developers at Intelligent Systems. And I'm not talking about the team that works on Fire Emblem and the other game, what was it called? Codename Steam, right. I'm not talking about the different teams working on the different games that Intelligent Systems creates. I'm specifically talking about the Paper Mario team. It seems like there was an old Paper Mario team at Intelligent Systems that worked on the N64 version and the Thousand Year Door. And then there was another team, a different team, that worked on Sticker Star. The team that came out with Color Splash is not, at least from what I'm seeing, is not the same team that worked on Thousand Year Door. So it kind of gives you a little bit of hope in the sense that the Thousand Year Door team wasn't as stupid as the Color Splash / Sticker Star team is. That being said, take it for what you will. I mean, I don't know if the team who created Thousand Year Door is still around, because I know that Intelligent Systems hired a lot of new people as of 2012 to work on Sticker Star, so I don't know how many of the original team remain. But it is interesting to note that if the team that had worked on Thousand Year Door was in charge, or was still in charge of the Paper Mario development, we may not have gotten Sticker Star or Color Splash. The last point I want to make, before I jump back into the world of Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which I'm actually enjoying a lot more than I thought I would, for the sole fact that it is actually more like a Paper Mario game than Sticker Star and Color Splash, and even Super Paper Mario were. But that's another topic for another day. I really hope Color Splash has support for the Wii U Pro Controller, and that you're not forced to use the gamepad. I don't think this is going to be the case, because of having to specifically flip cards from the gamepad in order to attack in a battle, plus the fact that you need to use the gamepad in order to solve puzzles by sketching out lines in order to cut out pieces of the overworld. But I'm still holding out hope that there's an alternative to being able to do that with the Wii U Pro Controller, because my biggest gripe with the Wii U gamepad, contrary to other people who have complained about it being way too bulky and not comfortable, I actually don't mind the gamepad in and of itself, except for the battery life. And this is one of the big sticking points and complaints I have, because I've been running into this a lot lately with Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I've got the gamepad on the lowest brightness setting, and still, with the lowest setting and with the power saving mode turned on, the gamepad only lasts about 5 hours. And for a JRPG like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, or any Wii U game that you want to play for extended periods of time, the 5-hour maximum just doesn't cut it, and the alternatives of spending $40 on a high-capacity battery doesn't seem appealing to me. versus using an extension cord, because, I mean, the length of the power cord of the actual adapter that plugs into the gamepad itself is not that long, quite far away from the outlets. And of course, like I said, the third alternative is using the Wii U Pro controller, which is what I've been trying to do a lot of the time with Tokyo Mirage sessions, except for the fact that I can't see the map without the gamepad, and I can't see any notifications that the other characters are sending to me, because that's also only accessible via the gamepad. Anyways, just another thing I'm nitpicking about. Anyways, so, once again, I've gotten out my anger and frustration on Color Splash. I think this is the 4th time that I've had to address this. I really hope it's the last time that I end up making a video surrounding the negativity on this game. Next time that I talk about Color Splash will hopefully be in October. But, gosh darn it, the game looks phenomenal in every aspect, except the garbage battle system, which ticks me off to no end. Get out your pitchforks, get out your torches, let intelligent systems know this is not the kind of Paper Mario game we want to see. It's just not. And, I mean, I guess the other irritating part that I have to point out here, every other Paper Mario game that's better than Sticker Star and Color Splash is out on the Wii U eShop. Super Mario RPG can be bought on the Wii U eShop. Paper Mario 64 on the Wii U eShop. Super Paper Mario, for crying out loud, is now available on the Wii U eShop. Every game except Thousand Year Door, which is the one game that we want intelligent systems to once again create. Like Roxy said, if they put GameCube games on the eShop for the NX, Thousand Year Door better be one of the first games that gets released. Because, I'll tell you right now, it's gonna get a heck of a lot higher ratings than Color Splash. In fact, I actually have a point I'm gonna make. I'm going to buy Color Splash, and then after an hour of gameplay time, I'm gonna go on the Wii U eShop, and I'm going to give Color Splash a 1 out of 5 stars. I'd give it 0 if I could, just to get the point across of how frustrated I am with Intelligent Systems' direction on this game. But I will give it a 1 out of 5, and you know what? If they release Thousand Year Door on the NX eShop, I will buy every other Paper Mario game again, digitally. I will buy Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario N64, Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario, and I will rate all of them 5 stars. That is the best thing that I can do to get my point across, and I hope all you guys do the same. If you buy Color Splash, give it a low rating, because it's the only way that we can get our voices heard. And even then, I mean, who knows if Nintendo and Intelligent Systems will pay attention. I mean, for all we know, come 2020 or 2021, when the next Paper Mario hits the NX, it'll be based off Color Splash again, knowing how this works. But that's the only way I can see us getting having any chance at getting our message across. We have to give the first 3 Paper Mario games, including Super Mario RPG, the highest possible rating that we can give them. And make sure that Sticker Star and Color Splash get very low ratings. And, who knows, right? I mean, like I said, it's the only way that we can get our voices across to Nintendo. And to those of you who are still hating on the haters, I guess that's the appropriate term that I can use. Wait until your favorite franchise is ruined. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a favorite TV show, a favorite movie, a favorite video game. For those of you who don't understand how angry us Paper Mario traditionalist fans are regarding Sticker Star and Color Splash, wait until a game or TV show or movie that you absolutely love to death gets butchered. And then you don't have a right to complain. Because when you complain about that, when it happens to you, maybe then you'll understand and you'll feel the same way that I feel right now, that Arlo and Josh and Andre and all the other people who have submitted videos and posted comments on how much they're upset and angry and disgusted by the direction Paper Mario has taken. Again, like I said, Color Splash looks like a fun game. It has every element we would want in a Paper Mario game, except the battle system. So, at this point, I feel like I'm being a broken record, but when you're this disappointed, there's really no other way to express the disappointment other than being vocal. Very last thing I want to say, and I didn't want to end off on a negative note, but I'm going to have to. Can someone please explain to me what's up with all of these loading screens? I mean, you see in the trailer, Mario walks through a door, and then you see that loading icon in the bottom right-hand corner. Why? I don't understand it. It's the exact same problem that Tokyo Mirage Sessions has, where basically every time you go from one area to the next, you see this loading screen for 5 to 10 seconds. Or every time you go to open up the menu, there's this loading screen. I don't understand. It's like the Super Smash Bros. Brawl conundrum, where, I mean, we all remember playing Brawl on the Wii and having to wait through these extremely long loading screens to get to the fighting. It doesn't make sense. Is this because the game is on a disc as opposed to a cartridge? I mean, I don't get it. I just don't. We never had this problem with PM64, Thousand Year Door, even Super Paper Mario that was disc-based didn't have this problem. In fact, I don't even think Sticker Star had this problem. But for some reason, it's a recurring dilemma with Wii and Wii U titles where we're constantly seeing these loading screens pop up, and it makes me think in the back of my mind, something odd is going on here. Either there's not enough RAM on the console where it can store all of this data in memory, or maybe the hard drive is too slow, there's not enough RPM. I don't know if it's different if you're downloading the game digitally to the hard drive as opposed to running it off of a disc. I know the optical drive is generally slower than reading off a hard drive, but it still bothers me. We shouldn't be... We're in 2016, for crying out loud, alright? This isn't an MMORPG. We shouldn't be inundated with loading screens every minute or two just by walking through a door, or just by opening up a menu, or just by getting into a battle. I mean, something doesn't make sense here, and maybe one of you guys can explain it to me. Maybe it's the Wii U's hardware, maybe it was the Wii's hardware as well, but Nintendo really needs to address this problem with the NX. That being said, we're out of time for tonight. Again, another 1 hour rant on Color Splash. I've probably ranted on Color Splash more and for longer than anyone else on YouTube has ranted on Color Splash. If you have questions or comments, you agree that Intelligent Systems has wrecked this franchise, and you are crying over the fact that Paper Mario Color Splash has a story, but does not have a proper story, does not have a proper battle system, make sure to let us know. Facebook, Twitter, @TOONDISE, hashtag GameView. And don't forget to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/ToonDice. Until next time, I'm Scott. I'll see you later. God. When Tokyo Mirage Sessions is a better JRPG than Paper Mario, you know something's wrong.